Hello, beloved. God's grace upon you abundantly. I want to quickly share a very important understanding, knowledge, because when we do not know, there is tendency of not maximizing the full potential of grace that we have. What do I mean? Teaching and wisdom is important in spiritual fellowship. I want to talk about the subject of sin. Because I've heard people discuss when you talk about sin, there is a religious idea of what sin is, but most people don't really understand what that word is. And getting proper understanding will help your relationship with God as a matter of fact. So let's talk about it a bit. What is sin? Sin is not just a religious word. Sin is spiritual. So what is sin? There are major biblical definition I love to use a lot, and one of them is the 1 John 3 verse 4 definition. There it was very straight definition. It says sin is lawlessness. If you read that place, you see sin is lawlessness. But the question is, there's another definition, which is the one Romans 14:23, when Paul was talking about that anything that is not of faith is sin. But we'll come to that. But the key one I want us to hold on to is that 1 John definition. The sin is lawlessness. So which law? Which law? That's a question, because it is not the law of men. It is not the law of your country. The truth is that when it comes to law is not, there are laws that are not universal. Right? The law in your land may be different from the law in another person's land, but there is a law the scripture is talking about, and it is the law of God. Sin is breaking or ignoring or not walking after the law of God, that the law of the Creator, that the law of the infinite wisdom, the infinite intelligence, the source and the existence of all things. Not walking in that law is what is called sin. Not walking in that order, not walking in that nature. Another word in definition, another word for sin is like missing the mark, not being in the right, that in the life. Somebody is running on the race and you are no longer running in the track. You are running off track. You are not running according to rules. You're already off. So that's what it's all about. So what is the law of God? That when someone goes against, it is called sin. Many people misinterpret the law of God as the law of Moses whenever they read the scripture. But I want to shock you. It's not the same. The law of God is one. And it is also, Moses taught it as well. The law of God is not 10 commandments. No. The law of God is one. And you'll find it in Deuteronomy 6 verse 5. That's where it's declared. The law of one is, it says, Shema Israel, that declaration that the Lord our God is one. And then he said that you should love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with everything you have. That is the law. The law is the law of love. James talked about the law of love a lot. The law of love. And it has an extension. It is mentioned in Leviticus 19 verse 18, the extension of it, where he said that you should also love your neighbor as yourself. But you can't separate the two. So it's not a different law. It's a one law, but it's an extension of the other one. So we can say it is two anyway, but it is like the scripture will say, it is like the other. They are the same, because it is one, that commandment, and that commandment is love, and it has not changed. So it doesn't change by testament. Say, oh, it's Old Testament, it's New Testament. All those things are irrelevant. The law of God does not change by testament. The law of Moses could change by testament. There are a lot of things. There are certain commandments that Moses gave, that he gave because of the people, like Jesus said. He said he gave you that law because of your stiff-neckedness, because of the kind of people you are. He gave you just, because of the condition and the situation at hand. So certain law comes by environment or situation. For example, you can go to a particular, if you go a mission to a place where civilization have not come, you may discover that they are not wearing clothes as they should. They are not covering up, and they have not seen any error in it. But when you see it, who understand what it means to cover up? For you, you will not agree with what you are seeing. Quickly, your default thinking would be to start correcting that instead of leading them to the central law before any other thing. So there is a central law, there is a universal law, and that universal law is the law of love, and that's the law of God. So it is important for us to use the law lawfully, like Paul would say. To use the law lawfully, you have to understand this. What is the law of God? And that is the law of love. It is not the law of Moses. It is the law of love. The law of Moses changed, a lot of things changed. But Christ still went back speaking and testifying to the same law when he also taught us that we should love. And when it comes to love, love is all about, it's not emotional thing, it's not like, it's love. Love means giving. You have to give. You have to give of yourself. You have to see others as part of you. You have to see yourself as part of God. You have to see yourself as having that oneness, as in you see yourself dependent on God, not separated from him. So you pour everything you are to God. The same way you also see others as part of one body, and we have contribution to make to everybody. So, and that is what love is all about: charity, giving, making our contribution to everybody, our contribution of smile, our contribution of help, support in every way, wherever they need it, we make it available. It shows love. When Jesus first talked about loving neighbor, the illustration he gave was the Good Samaritan walking down and saw someone who is wounded. He had every reason to walk out, but he discovered what love is all about. I am going to give my contribution to my fellow human, no matter how. I mean, whatever amount it is, I must make my contribution. I must see this person. If I see this person as not part of me, what do? I walk away. It doesn't concern me. But if I see this person as part of me, I'll make my contribution on their progress. And that is what love is all about. And I pray that that will be our mindset. That will be how we think. It's not just in pointing fingers. The devil, because of ignorance, makes some people, in order to obey the commandment, what they think is God's commandment, they turn around to fight against God. It has been the situation for religious people, just like Pharisees and Sadducees. In all their heart, they were trying to obey God. Paul fell into that same trap, trying to obey God by fighting God's people. And when his eyes was open, he repented. These people were waiting for Jesus when Jesus came, because they didn't know the law of God, but they were busy obeying the traditions of men and forgot the law of God and turned their back against God, creating their own laws and tradition. When Jesus came, they didn't recognize him. They who indeed were waiting for the Messiah crucified the Messiah. That's how terrible it can be when you do not have understanding of what I'm talking about. Immerse yourself in this study. Immerse yourself in understanding what love is all about, and let it be your daily meditation, and God will reward you greatly. God bless you, and see you next time.